Hello gorgeous. In this video I'm going to show you how to decorate this beautiful lady. If you haven't seen it, you're going to need to go watch this video first, the previous video where I did the male, because in that video I show you how to do the skull and everything. In this video we're going to decorate this lovely lady and finish up the skulls. Alright, welcome back to part 5 of the sugar skulls. I originally intended this to be like 3 videos, but it just didn't happen. There's a lot of work that goes into these. Let's get to the fun part. I've got my skulls, top hats. I've got flowers that I've made. I love these. I talked about making rainbow ones in the last video. Look how cute they are. I love my little rainbow flowers. And this one here is one of my favorites too. This one was made with a rainbow cane, and I love that one. That's one of my favorites. So I've got my flowers ready to go. Again, they've been sitting for a while. It's better to have them sitting for a while for the same reason. You can move them around easier, and they're a little bit firmer. They won't be so easy to squish. Here's some more flowers. Some of these I'm not going to use. Some of them are just practice flowers, but I've got plenty ready to go. This is my female. So I'm going to fix her flowers on her. I mean, you could always do it the other way around. This could always be the female. And then I did do some that are the same color. So both of these skulls will be black. And I made some where both of the skulls were white. So, yeah, got options. I'm going to do a crown like I did on these. So I'm going to use the 5 flowers around the top of her head. But if I try to just put the flowers straight on here, they're kind of hard. You've got this big dip right here because this is rounded and then it goes here. So it's hard to get your flower down in there. And if you have it sitting where it looks good on there, there's not really enough contact area, in my opinion, or not enough that I feel safe with. So I'm going to take my black, just a little bit, and then I'm going to put it around her head and kind of smooth it in so that I have something to attach the flowers to. I have on some of them used green also for this. You can do the black or the green, either one. Just something that is gonna blend in, using just a little bit of adhesive to make sure that it attaches well. Yeah, they're gonna come down pretty far. That may be too far, but there'll be leaves and things there, so it'll be fine. I don't think that's going to be thick enough. This one's a little bit fatter. Of course, I could always add more. That one may be too fat. Okay, I've got that on there now. So what I'm going to do is squish this in. I'm really wishing I had put her a little bit further down, so I had a little more room for her flowers, but it's too late now because she's pretty stuck on there. Kind of pressing this down to where it slopes down. And then I'm going to take this dotting tool and just kind of push some of it into that texture really well. Or with my finger, either way, both. Now she's ready for me to start putting her flowers on. Some of these I have put the leaves on before the flowers and then added more flowers later. Some of them I've put the flowers on and then the leaves. Take another look at her. I know with her I put the leaves on later, but I think I'm gonna do the same. I mean, I don't want this one to look just like that one, but just kind of using that as a reference. I do think that I want to put the flowers on first. Got out some more things I needed. I got out some green colors for leaves. I also have some leaf canes over here that I'll show you in a minute. I got out some round cutters that I need. First, I'm going to fill in her eyes. You can put, now if you don't want to use rhinestones, you just use liquid clay and fill in just like we're going to do the nose and the mouth. But I want to use rhinestones. And let me find the ones I'm looking for. I wanted to show you the difference. See how this is one of them. I don't see how the rhinestones are kind of raised. Maybe you can see that. That's because I filled in the eyes first. If you don't fill in the eyes, they're gonna sink down in there like with her. And I feel like they sparkle a little bit more if they're raised up. It's like the light can get to them better. At least that's how I feel. So I just got me a cutter that's about the same size as her eyes. It's a little bit smaller because I want to leave room to press these out. I mean, honestly, that's cute too, just filling it in like that. Use these rhinestones, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to set those in. Okay, I'm going to press the little dots in just a little bit. I have a fairly large rhinestone here. It's not tiny, but it's not huge either. I'm using a point back rhinestone. They sparkle more than a flat back, but on some of these I did use a flat back, so either way is fine. But I find if I'm using a pointed back that it's better if I make a little dot so that the point has a place to go, and then that way I make sure I get the rhinestone where I want it. Okay, pick it up with my wax tool, and then with that dot there, that dot may not be, yeah, see, it's just kind of sitting there. It's not moving around. And since this rhinestone is so big, instead of using this, I find this slides off the stone very easily if it's a bigger stone. So I'm just going to take anything that I've got that's flatter and push that in. I don't use liquid clay or adhesive or anything here because I've tried in the past and it just gets all over my rhinestone, makes a mess, and then they're not shiny because you've got that all over them. So I use the clay to hold mine in. Now that one did get a little off. Let's see if I can slide it over. There we go, that's better. But I'll show you how I secure mine without using the adhesive and all of that stuff. I've got some of the rainbow blend left over. I don't want to do a full rainbow around her eyes because I think with the rainbow flowers it'll be a little bit too much. So I'm just going to stick with the pink, purple, and blue there, since those are some of my favorite colors. I think I will do a graduated design. I'm going to use my little cutters here to cut out some circles. Got my little pieces of cut out clay, and then I'm going to roll them in a ball. flatten it out just a little, and then place it where it's just covering the edge of the rhinestone. That may not be quite in the right place. But I want to cover just that little edge, and that is what will hold the rhinestone on. And then I'm going to go back and forth. That will help keep my design even. Instead of doing one side and then the other, I'm going to do each side as I go. If I can get that off my finger. That way I can make sure they're in the same place. Alright, I am going to use a silicone sculpting tool to shape them. You can use a metal sculpting tool. You can use a needle tool. Just whatever. Each one of those will give a different look. But I decided I'm going to use the silicone. And then I'm just going to press it out lightly. Just to get my shape. I still don't like the way that one is sitting, but too late now. It'll be alright. Right, and then I'm going to go to the smaller one. And the next, that is the next color. I will say, this is a lot easier to do when I'm not doing it on camera. And I want to shape these as I go, because like I'm putting each petal over the previous one just a little. So I've got to shape it before I go on to the next one. I didn't really get that one over. It really is hard to get these just right on camera. But, I mean, they don't have to be perfect. I don't know why I'm Miss Perfection today. I struggle with that sometimes. I try too hard to make it too perfect when it doesn't need to be. She's gonna have so much more going on here that nobody's gonna notice if these petals are not exactly even. That looks really cute there with just the 3 on the outside. Let's see if that's how I want to do it. Instead of going all the way around. That's really cute. And once I add the others, now I'm going to go ahead and go on around because, or at least go a couple more. Because I left those rhinestones up pretty high. I didn't press them in as much. So I want to make sure they're secure. So I think I'm going to leave it there, and I may put just a couple of little black balls there. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm good with her eyes, and I think from there we'll start on the flowers. Okay, so now I'm back to adding her flower crown. And I can pick these up with the ball tool, or sometimes I can pick them up with a silicone tool. I think the ball tool is better. Alright, now I want to make sure they're all nice and even, and then I'll press them in. Now, I want to use a bigger ball tool to press that in, because like I said, that little one will just kind of go through it. So I'm going to use a bigger one. And it may squish some of the small inside petals, but that's okay because I'm going to use rhinestones in there anyway. Now, if you feel like maybe it's not pressed in enough, you can take a needle tool and kind of go up in there, but you have to be careful not to ruin your flowers. But you can just kind of gently go in there and push a petal or two down. You just have to be careful. Now for leaves. There's a few different ways you can do leaves. Now I made some leaf cane. Another way is you can just use just green and roll them out, press them in, and I may do that on some of the other ones just to show you how to do it. But I think for this one I'm going to use the cane, just because with the colors here being solid, I think some pattern will look good with this. Let's see. Yeah, I think I like that with some pattern to it. Okay, so let's cut up some leaf cane. These are my leaf canes. I did not show these in the video, but I watched Jen Sewell make this. She's a very talented artist. You need to look her up on Facebook. I'll see if I can leave a link to her profile. That's one I just kind of made up on my own. These I did, now mine came out like super wonky. Hers are nice, but for what I'm using it for, it's fine. But I did one with the dark on the outside and one with the light on the outside. So let me just slice up a few of these in some different sizes, and then I'll come back and we'll put them on. Okay, let's see about adding some leaves to her. Get her crown decorated a little bit more. I would like to try to do it this way, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to have to move her around. That's another thing that I like about the fact that I did the front and the back already. It's not raw sitting on a tile. I can just move it around and do whatever I need to do. Okay, I'm just going to pick up some leaves. Like I said, I don't really plan this out too much ahead of time, especially this part. I just kind of go with the flow, and like I thought about putting that there, but I think it's going to be too big. So let's do this one. Pressed it out just a little bit in my fingers. And then I think I want it kind of angled in toward her face. So I'm going to put it right there. Sometimes you have to give it a little bit of a nudge. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get better about keeping my voice at a more constant volume instead of mumbling and not raising my voice up and down, but that's harder than it seems at times, because I mean, realistically, I'm just sitting here talking to myself, right? And if I'm talking to myself, I tend to just kind of talk under my breath. I forgot that I'm going to need a little bit more poly paste. I'm just going to get some out, plop it right here on my tile. I mean, like, really, both of those should have had some poly paste under them. But they'll be fine. I'm going to add more stuff around. Just kind of slide that into the poly paste. Or at least I'm trying to. I did not realize that making these on camera would be so doggone hard. I'm struggling here, y'all. Now some of them decorate their cheeks and or chin, things like that, but I think for her, since she has this large crown, I think I'm not gonna do all that with her. I think I'm just gonna leave her face as it is. Now I know this is not sitting perfectly right here, but it's okay because I'll add some rhinestones and things in there. Okay, I'm gonna turn her around this way so I can add some through here. Actually, you know what? I can't do that. If I turn it that way, she's upside down and I can't tell what she looks like. Another reason that I like doing this, the background first, is like if I did want to put that leaf there, it would be over the edge, but I don't have to worry about trying to make that edge fit around or up underneath whatever design goes over the edge. So I can't think of anything else to tell you about this. So I'm just gonna keep adding my leaves and keep sculpting until I get it like I want it. Okay, I took these big leaves off from here because I wasn't satisfied with that. I didn't like the way that was looking. And I'm going to show you how I do the leaves with this marbled green right here. I just take and pull some off, depending on what size I want my leaf. Just roll it up into that shape, squish it out, pick it up, add it on, and then do the same little indentions like I normally do. Just down the center, and then the little veins there. And that gives me a little bit of a different color in with this. I don't know, there's something about her I'm just not satisfied with. I almost think she looked better before I ever started putting the leaves. But maybe that's just me. Sometimes I do that. I look at something and, you know, just don't like it. But then I go back later and just absolutely love it. It's the same way with this flower right here, that rainbow flower. It was one of those things, it was like, can't decide if I love it or hate it. But then after a while, I decided it was actually one of my favorites. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. Alright, I think I'm going to put a little bit more of the marbled color right in here. And then I'm going to be done as far as the leaves. And then I'll move on to adding the rhinestones. I just had an idea that I haven't thought about doing on any of the other ones. See this little, I don't know, thingy that sticks out? Kind of like that. Make some little, I don't know, like little curly Q type things maybe. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm putting this up under here, and I'm kind of, because it's up under there and you can't see it, I can like rub it into the base sort of, so I don't have to worry about it coming off. And then the rest of it, I'm not really pressing it in, but it's just kind of laying there. But I'm sure it'll be fine as long as part of it is pressed into the texture. I'm sorry, well, I've got you zoomed in, so I'm off camera over here fixing another one. Yeah, I like that. I think it's adding a little something that I wasn't sure what I needed, so I'm going to carry on adding those on. Okay, I have her crown all done, which I love. I am so glad that I thought to add these little kind of sticks, and I did little loops too, and I think they are so cute. That's something I haven't done before, but I think it added a lot to the design. I even have some that are kind of in the flowers themselves, or like in between the flowers, I should say. And yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I mean, she's got a lot going on here, but I like it. I think she's pretty. Now it is time for the bling. I found these rhinestones in my stash, which I think are very pretty. They're kind of blue and red and purple, which would tie into the flowers around her eyes. These are heat set crystals, so that's great. That one's not, but they have this coating on the back of them that will like melt in the oven. It's basically like a heat set glue. So these will stay on really well. I don't have to worry as much about getting the clay around them like I did here. I still prefer to have some clay around and over the edge so that I don't have to worry about the glue eventually failing. I have different sizes of my tiny clear point back rhinestones here also, and that's going to be the next step. So inside the flowers, I'm going to use the clear. I'm going to press it in and gently, very gently, kind of fold the petals up around it. You can still see it, but it's kind of buried down in there. I don't know if I was out of frame or not, but I took my silicone tool and just kind of spread the center open just a little bit. Give me enough room. Kind of put that down in there, and I have to be careful not let it flip to the side. Sometimes as you're putting them in there, they kind of like to flip sideways. A little bit of that clay up against it so that it doesn't come out, but I still want it to be shown. Kind of wish I'd went with a larger size right there, but it's too late now. I won't ever be able to dig that out. Hey peeps, I hope you are enjoying this series. I know I really enjoyed creating it for you. I hope you're learning something. And if that is the case, please consider donating to my channel. Just a little tip, a little thanks. It's very, very much appreciated. Just so you know, I don't get paid from YouTube. So I do all of this in my own time, with my own money, and just every little bit helps. I'm going to put the same size in here. I said I would. Oop, that one flipped over straight away. I wish I had put one size bigger in the... Flipped on me again. Okay. Let me finish what I'm trying to say before it flips over again. I wish I had put one size larger on the medium flower. Okay. Maybe it won't flip over this time. Maybe if I hold the flower just right. There we go. Nope, it flipped again. Oh no, okay. It's gonna say don't tell me it doesn't want to come out. Try this one. Not one more time. Oh goodness. How about I just go over here to the other side for a minute? Maybe that particular stone just wanted to go on this side. Which means you gotta go in here. Okay. That one is very deep down in there, I think is what the problem was. That's not gonna sparkle very much. You're not gonna be able to see it very much, but it's there. You can see it from certain angles, maybe. Okay, now let's put some random rhinestones in the bouquet. Let's see if I'm gonna want these or not, or if I just want to go with the clear. Could do both. Kind of like that sparkle with a little bit of color. Let's use both. Y'all let me know what you would do. Would you have used these or just the clear? Okay, that one's too big. I don't like that one. Well, I guess it's staying. I know Bob Ross didn't say this about rhinestones, but that little rhinestone just wanted to live right there. Hope you can still be able to see what I'm doing. And this is just kind of one of those things you just do whatever you think looks good. Just put them wherever it makes you happy. I like to set these at different angles. Like that one I'm setting kind of at this angle and not straight on. And then that way they sparkle a little bit differently depending on which way the piece turns, if that makes sense. Wrap a little bit of clay around them before I forget. Just whatever is there and available. They're actually probably pressed so far down in there that they would be fine, but you know, it never hurts to make sure. I'm just not crazy about this stone right here. Let's see if I can slide it down in there a little bit more. It was a little bit too big for right there. That's better. I like to load these things up with rhinestones. I don't know why. I just do. Perfect time to use a whole bunch of sparkles. At least in my opinion. Of course, if you're not a fan of sparkles, I mean, she looked really pretty without them too, so. You just do whatever makes your little heart happy. We want happy hearts. And it makes sparkles make my heart happy. At least in this case. The only thing is sometimes I have a hard time knowing when to stop. Because it's like, oh, one would look good in that little crevice. And let's stick one down in there. And, you know. But I think the ones I've made so far, I don't think I got carried away. Especially since they're smaller and they're like tucked away in there. I mean, some of them are large, but a lot of them are small and they're just kind of tucked away down in there. So it's not like they're just jumping out at you, really. I have worked on these things for so long, y'all. I mean, literally, it has been over a month since I started this collection. But there was the situation with the backfill that I decided not to use. So then I had to go back and, you know, remake the bases, which I can still use those backfilled pieces. They'll be just fine, you know, on their own. But so that took a while, and then making the flowers and just kind of practicing and working that out before I started making the videos for y'all. Well, some of the stuff I worked out beforehand. Obviously, I didn't work out those canes beforehand. That video, oh goodness. But anyway, and then I got sick and I didn't work for a week. So it's just been, this one's been a slow go. I really enjoy making them and I've had a lot of fun, but it's at the point that I'm ready to be done, you know? After you've been working on one project for a long, long time, you kind of get to that point where you're just like, okay, ready to move on to something else now. Okay, I think that's probably, no, one more. See, I have a hard time knowing when to stop. But it needs one more right there. And then I'm quitting. Now because that one is on the, it's against the cured clay, I've got to make sure I get some of that raw clay up over it. And there we go. I think that's, I think we can call it done on that. So now she has got to go in the oven just long enough to set the skull. That's all. She doesn't have to go in for a full bake. Just long enough that the skull is hardened a little. Now she looks pretty good here. But if she did have fuzzies and she was dirty, this is what you can do. Very soft brush, a little bit of alcohol or clay softener, either one. Get your brush kind of damp and just gently brush over. You can't use a whole lot of this because it's going to dry your clay out. You know, if you have a light fingerprint or a little bit of fuzzy or dust or something like that, you can get it off this way. I just use alcohol because I don't know, I can't find my clay softener at the moment. And well, alcohol's cheaper, right? Something's cheap. Nope, she's got a fuzzy right there. Get this fuzzy off of her, and then she'll be ready for the oven. Almost, come on. Come on. Don't make me have to get a needle tool after you. Almost had it. Sometimes with things like this, you just have to be patient. I could use the needle tool, but then that's going to leave a mark, a dent that's going to be harder to get out than this. Oh, there we go. Aha! Got it. Just takes a little bit of patience, perseverance. Okay, now that I can actually see and I'm looking a little bit closer, she's got one there too. Okay. Alright, now she's ready for the oven. Okie dokie. The gorgeous couple is out of the oven now. They are not fully cured, but the skull itself is hard, so that's all I'm worried about right now, because they will have to go back in the oven. I'm going to get some black and some white liquid clay. If you haven't used your liquid clay in a good while, you need to make sure that it is stirred very, very well. You don't want to shake it. It's too thick to shake it. You need to stir it. It hasn't been long since I used mine, so mine will be good. I prefer to do this with a needle tool. The nose you can probably do with a silicone tool, maybe, or a dotting tool. Matter of fact, I may use a dotting tool for the nose just to get it done a little faster. But for the teeth, definitely I'm going to use a needle. And I'm just going to get a little bit on my dotting tool. Only a little bit. You can always add more. I'm getting a little bit on here, and I'm just going around, mostly around the outside, making sure that I get around there really good. Alright, now that I've got a layer on there and got it coated, I'm going to get a fairly big scoop. Uh-oh, I think it's got a fuzzy or something. But I'm going to get a decent sized scoop on my tool here. Maybe a little bit more than that. Give me a good blob on there. And then just touch it to the center and just let it fall off. If you touch it off, it'll kind of just pull itself off and attach to the what you've already got there. When you go to take it out of the clay or out of the liquid clay, you go to pick your tool up, don't just move it very quick. It'll leave a string and it will probably go where you don't want it to. But if you I've got to tilt this where it's it. If you move it slowly out, it won't. It gives that the tail. See, I don't know if you can see right there. If you pick it up quick, see that string? You move it fast. But if you give it time and you move it slow, it won't leave that string. This is the reason why I wanted these cured ahead of time. A little bit of white clay right there where I don't want it. So, if you get clay where you don't want it, it's easy to clean it off since that is already cured. Depending on where it is, you might can just wipe it off. But I'm just using my little brush here with just a little bit of alcohol. And I'm just going to clean that right up. And that's a good thing to remember, like anytime you're using liquid clay on a piece like this, you know, go ahead and give it a cure first, and then you can add this so that if you do mess up, you can just wipe it off and start over. Haven't ruined the whole piece. The black in her nose. And see what I just did? I picked it up too soon or too fast, and there's the little tail. I promise I did not do that intentionally. But while I've got alcohol here, let's just go ahead and clean it off. And see, came off really, really easily. But that's what happens if you pick your tool up out of the liquid clay too quickly. It'll leave that little tail. And of course, it's usually going to go where you don't want it to. Get a big blob on here. Now, I don't fill these like completely up. I feel like it loses a little bit of the definition if you do that. Like if you try to fill it all the way up, it's going to lose the little hump there on the nose. And the same for the teeth. It's going to lose a lot of the shapes of the teeth if you like fill it all the way up. Let's see. Okay, noses are looking good. And then for the mouth, I'm going to use this needle tool with just a little bit on there. I don't want too much. And then that way I can just go up in the on the sides, I guess, basically is what I'm saying. Get up on the sides where the little teeth marks are. I'm not doing a good job on him, but if I could pick him up and see him, it would be better. Okay, so I've got my initial thing there, and a little bit more. Kind of up on the sides, and if you could see this in person, you could see what I'm talking about, like, because it's where it's pressed in, you know, you've got the sides there, just like the side of the piece here. Well, it's that same thickness here. So I start out putting it up on the sides, and then once I get the sides covered, that's too big, then I can go in with a bigger blob and fill it in. And I almost pulled that one up too quick again. And if you were to fill this up all the way, you would lose the little teeth. It would just be like one, you know, just the line there. You wouldn't have the little individual teeth lines. That's a mistake that I've made before. I think I probably did that when I made these a couple of years ago. I probably filled them up too much. Okay, I've got them filled in now, and they are ready to go in the oven for their final bake and their complete cure. Don't forget, if you haven't seen the beginning of how we got to this point, there's a little eye right here. If you'll click that, it will pop up the playlist for this project. Okay, if you've hung in with me this long, I'm going to show you the rest of these that I made. Obviously, this is the pair that we did on camera. Let me show you some of the other beauties. I'm just going to warn you, I may say these are some of my favorites like a million times because I love them all and they're all my favorites. You got beautiful sparkly eyes. She's got some more stones up and around her headdress. I really honestly started saying this is one of my favorites. I think they are so pretty. They are all finished with my initial flower on the back side. I love this color. Okay, I'm not going to say it, but they are really, this one really is, but I'm not going to say it. These are not one of my favorites. I really wish I had left these dots off of her chin, but I'm sure someone will love them. I mean, they're really pretty. That's one little detail wish I had left off. And speaking of things I wish I had changed, on this one that I did on camera, if you remember, if you watched that video, I tried these white dots on the outside of the rainbow petals. I really wish I had done it that way. The rainbow kind of gets lost. So I really wish I had put those white dots around the outside. Got this lovely couple. He's the only one that does not have a top hat. I must have been on an orange and pink kick. And the last pair, red is my least favorite color. I'm not a red kind of girl, but this is probably, I'm going to say it, it's my favorite pair. Alright, and that's all of them. And thank you so much. If you haven't seen the rest of these, look right here. There's a playlist there that shows you the whole Sugar Skull series. If you have watched the whole series along with me, then go to this playlist right here and that will show you the rest of my tutorials. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Okay, thanks. Bye.